Hello everyone, welcome to Howstuffinmycarworks channel. Today's video is an encouragement for all of us to be safe when driving on snowy or icy roads. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, the Trans Am is my daily driver. But when driving on ice, I normally drive the Jetta because it's front-wheel drive. So I'm going to get the Jetta in the garage while I go over the tips in today's video. This is a really cool time of the year. The majority of states get snow. This morning I had to leave for work at 3 o'clock in the morning and the roads were completely covered with black ice. The reason why the front-wheel drive Jetta is a better choice when driving on ice or snow is because when a vehicle is front-wheel drive, you have the engine and the transmission on the front of the vehicle, obviously, like most of them, and the traction is transmitted to the front wheels. So you have all that weight on the front wheels and the vehicle is pulling you instead of trying to push you like a rear-wheel drive. That's why you see rear-wheel drive pickups or rear-wheel drive cars sliding when they're trying to climb a slight hill on an icy road or a snowy road. And that's because there's hardly any weight on the back. All the weight's in the front. So here's something really light trying to push a heavy part of the vehicle. There's no traction. So one of the tips when it comes to driving on ice or snow, it's common sense for most people, but having a reminder never hurts, which is whenever you start approaching an intersection, it's important to start slowing down ahead of time. And if the vehicle has a manual transmission like this car does, start shifting gears gradually. That way the engine starts slowing the car down with its own power and you have a lot less need to use the brakes. The last thing you want to do, hit the brakes hard, because obviously that's going to cause the car to slide. And the ABS system is going to activate and it's going to minimize the sliding part. But if the roads are covered with ice, it's going to slide no matter what, and you could cause an accident. Another tip, which is probably no-brainer, right? Try not to use the cruise control. Just like when you drive on heavy rain or areas that have huge puddles of water, you don't use your cruise control because it's going to make things worse. Same thing on ice and snow. You don't want to use your cruise control. Just stay in control of your vehicle at all times. The other areas that usually have very slippery ice are bridges. And the reason why is because under the bridge, the cold wind has been blowing for hours more likely. And that moisture that came down, whether it was snow or water, it is frozen solid. And that's going to be so slippery that the slightest touch of the brake pedal is going to send you sliding all over the place. So when you're approaching a bridge, you have two options. Keep the accelerator pedal consistent, don't move it, don't accelerate, and if it's possible, just coast until you finish going through the bridge and you can start accelerating again. Another no-brainer is the fact that you need to drive at slower speeds. Simple enough, right? You don't want to drive at high speeds because it's going to be extremely hard to gain control of the vehicle if you start sliding all over the place. If you're in an area that gets more snow than we do, obviously you're going to need snow chains or snow cables. The snow cables are more desirable because they're easier to put on, obviously, right? They're easier on the car and easier on the roads, but having them will make driving a lot easier. And obviously you want to put the chains or cables on the wheels that have the traction. Like in this case, you put them on the front wheels. If it's a rear-wheel drive vehicle, you're going to put them on the back. So let's all work together. We all have to share the roads. Let's make it safe for us, for our family members, and for other citizens that have the need to use the roads just like we do. They have to commute to work. They have to take their children to school, run errands, you name it. let's make an effort to stay safe and don't jeopardize our lives and their lives. So by making a commitment to drive safely, we have the privilege of enjoying the view. Because snowy conditions, you get a very cool view. Everything looks different. Feel free to share your own tips on the comment sections when it comes to winter driving. Maybe a tip that you learned either by accident or by driving on this kind of condition on a regular basis. You never know. If you choose to share it with some of our viewers, it could save their life. Or at least encourage them to commute to work and not miss work just because it's snowing outside or the roads are covered with ice. So like I said, feel free to leave some cool tips for some of our other viewers. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.